Fear. It's something that has kind of felt really, really powerful in the new, and I'm gonna go over why and how to deal with it, at least to the marginal degree you're able to, within Dominion 6. Now, first, you have to understand how the effect of fear works, and for reference, the most common application I'll be going over is the Fear Incarnate Bless. Now, if I've done my homework, then on the screen there should be a very, very heady post by Loggy that explains how fear works. But ultimately, the way that fear works is it will actively do magical effects where it's in a magical check to reduce your morale every tick of the game. And it behaves similar to Sleep Aura, where with the level of fear you have, the more powerful the effect is, and the wider the range. Now, how good is this in action? We all remember fear from the previous games. Here's Vance. The only bless they have, besides some experienced stars, is fear. And in this battle versus 100 Ashigaru, which you could say they should win, right? But do they win like that normally? They won this fight killing 28, half of on the retreat. Oh, me saying, because they're Ashigaru, right? Garu are like trash infantry. Cheap. These guys have morale 13, right? Some high morale base, plus a bonus from this leader. That's pretty above average for what some nations can't even obtain. 50 of them, right? But they're better units. 11 HP, better stats. They don't even really engage. Look, the charge comes in, they last a little bit longer. Almost immediately they rout. They're gone. What is going on here? Now, ultimately, what can best be explained as the cause for this is the way routing works being changed and the way blesses work in relation to cavalry. The first one is you'll notice the unit I used as an example, and one you see a lot is the van on LA Midgard. That's ultimately because a lot of the elf nations have found their cavalry sacreds much, much worse due to the lack of protection on the horse, right? What was once a single van with a stat line like this, it's now this. And when this dies, the unit's kind of screwed. And so people have been looking for ways to make the horses effective, and fear is really, really good because the fear applies to the mount and the rider. Fun fact, that's not true for Demon Knights, but what that means is for every van on the field, you really have 2 Fear 5 effects going. The second reason is the way routing works. In previous Dominions titles, routing was done at the squad level. So often your solution to problems like this was to make bigger or smaller squads. You do many small squads, similar to you do baiting, so that if the morale check fails, it'll only move a small bit. Or you do a large squad, so you need a certain amount of morale to fail, right, before the squad would rout. But now, singular people rout, and you can see magic bonus -10. Magic bonus -10. Magic bonus, like, they're getting trashed -4 by the thing. And you can see here, the only ones still standing and fighting are the ones who haven't routed yet. And as over half rout, the squad as a whole routes, which is what you see here. In the initial engagement, a certain quantity dies. And then in the following ticks, as they start routing, this first row routes, which causes this row to rout, right? In which case, very quickly, the entire army routes. You can see this guy has morale 8, but he is routing because his whole squad is routed. Now, there's, of course, a couple of exceptions, right? You can counter this with a variety of ways. But that's what I'm going to go over, but that's the power of this. And those 10 of them are facing a bunch of Oban with just some Deer Tribe Shamans. And the Shamans go, and they cast Touch of Madness. And your little box will have little groups head forward, right? And you script it properly. And so as these guys advance, they're berserk. And these mages will quickly follow and begin casting web. And so these guys engage, and rather than routing immediately, they actually fight in melee as the webs start landing. And start winning. And so ultimately, which was an insurmountable threat before, right? Which was something you could not handle, you are now beating extremely gold efficiently with very few casualties just based off casting a really early spell. Now, for reference, Touch of Madness is a Thom 4 spell. You know, if you're in a position where your neighbor has Fear Vans, it's worth going up Thom, right? You get Touch of Madness. And it hard counters the build. Most people are scared of like the fear Stygian skin vans, right? Especially with the current fear meta. You walk into them because you have nothing to fear. And every single nation can do this with shamans. There's a collection of specific ways to counter fear. You use evos, right? But doing Touch of Madness and web on easy, cheap shamans you can recruit from every province is the most consistent solution that every nation can do. Now, I could go into a bunch of specialized ones, right? You have specific summons, you have specific evocations, you have specific items, and you can do certain things with certain nations. But the ability to universally counter the strategy, I think, leaves it as a very good avenue, and it is the best solution to deal with fear. I don't want to drag on. I don't want to kind of keep going. Thank you for watching, and don't die to the fear of ants next time, hopefully. Get some Touch of Madness and get this shit done.